Hi, and welcome to JBRC Race Cars. My name's Steve, and I'm going to show you some of the rack and pinion units that we have available for the steering on your car. This is a little cutaway that we use for trade shows to display the rack units, just simulating the front snout of the chassis itself. The traditional rack that was used for years, based off of, I think they usually referred to it as the Pinto rack. This particular rack unit here, gearbox side, steering shaft itself, and then your tie rods connected on both ends. This particular rack, while widely still used by many builders and sold by us to many people constructing and building cars, is not the rack that we use in a Jerry Bickle built race car. This rack, in our opinion, just needed some updating and needed to have a more modern gearbox and some additional features. This rack unit, though we do carry and sell and have the mounting kit for it, generally utilized a single piece of tubing like this that was drilled through one of the diagonal pipes off the mainframe or the chassis out to the front crossmember and caught one of the bolt holes in the gearbox itself for mounting it on the driver's side. On the passenger side, used a clamp design like this that was welded off the opposite diagonal and clamped to the body, or what's called the tube, of the rack on the passenger side. The actual chassis mounting that's simulated here utilizes the same on the passenger, but a complete different unit on the driver, and that's what we call our Pro Billet rack. We worked with a rack manufacturer some years ago and tried to come up with some ideas in order to make a higher quality rack and pinion gear unit. And while weight savings is always an issue with drag race cars, a lighter rack. Another feature we tried to do with it is slow the ratio of the rack down, so as the driver was doing any motion with movement of the steering wheel while making the pass or whatever, it did not scuff the front tires because we slowed the ratio of the rack down, thus allowing any little movement in the rack not to be as great as the earlier model rack. That rack unit is shown here. As you can see, it uses a whole different gearbox design that mounts to the one that was on the display chassis. It's a billet gearbox. The unit itself, while being quite a bit smoother in my opinion than even the earlier Pinto style, utilizes a gun drilled shaft through the unit, which lightens it, and a slower reduction gearbox. When you get the unit from us, another thing that we've done over the standard Pinto style racks, and we've actually done this on both models of ours, is what I'll call the ball joint socket that threads into the main shaft of the rack unit has been cut off of what would otherwise normally be a male shaft coming off here with a male thread on it for a female style tie rod or rod end to thread onto. We have these pre-cut and machined for you so that you'd utilize a chromoly tie rod tube. The tie rod tube can be cut to length based off the tread width of the car and slides up on and then welded and hidden underneath the bellow or the boot itself. This happens to be one of the tie rod kits laid out here. Racks are available by themselves, or what we call packages, and the packages can include the tie rods, the rod end hardware to connect to the strut steering arms, as well as all the aircraft NAS bolt nut hardware, misalignment bushings, and bushings in to help you adjust as far as when you go to line the car for bump steer. These racks, like I said, would be the common one that would be used in any Bickel built car, would be this model rack here, which we refer to as our Pro Billet rack. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and give us a call or look us up on the web. We're always here to help.